Call this meeting of Veterans Affairs and Emergency Preparedness to order. Jamie, could you please call the roll?
Chairman Solomon,
Here.
Representative Borowski, Representative Brown, designation, Representative Doherty,
He's by designation. Yep.
designation, Representative Genst, Representative Haddock, Representative Ingalls, Representative Monroe, designation, Representative O'Mara, designation, Representative Pielli, Representative Sappy, Representative Scott, designation, Representative Takak, Representative Webster, Chairman Gillen,
He's here.
Representative Banta, Representative Bashline, Representative Cooper,
got you.
Representative Ham, Representative Kerwin, Representative Krupa, Representative Major, Representative Rigby, Representative Stender, Representative Wattrow, Representative Williams. We have a quorum.
I will call up House Resolution 888, authored by Representative McKenzie. Representative McKenzie, if you would provide your remarks.
Thank you, Chairman Solomon and Chairman Gillen, and members of the committee for allowing me to speak today about my resolution H.R. 88, which would designate August 7th, 2025, to be known as Purple Heart Day in Pennsylvania. While we honor and recognize the sacrifice of all members of the military, a very special and deep debt of gratitude must go out to those valiant members who suffered injury or death while in combat. I hope that H.R. 88 brings special honor to these heroes and a measure of comfort to their families. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, Representative. Are there any comments? Chair Gillen.
Yeah, and there was no accident. August 7th was chosen the badge of military merit under George Washington, a predecessor to the modern Purple Heart. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any negative votes? House Resolution 88 moves to the floor. Thank you, Representative McKenzie. Next, I will call up House Bill 1564, authored by Representative Kazim. This is a re-referral. Mike, could you please explain the bill?
This bill raises the maximum income threshold for families to qualify for subsidized childcare.
Are there any comments on this referral to the Human Services Committee? I'll make the motion to make that referral of House Bill 1564 to Human Services. Any comments? Are there any negative votes? House Bill 1564 is re-referred to Human Services. Next up is House Bill 1342, authored by Representative Armanini. We will first bring up an amendment by Representative Stender. That's Amendment 1336. Representative Stender, on your amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My amendment makes some changes to streamline the discounted activities for our veterans at state parks by specifying that the 15% discount shall apply to prices for picnic pavilions, picnic groves, overnight campsites, cabins, cottages, lodge rooms, and all other roofed overnight facilities operated by our state parks and our state forests. And further specifies that these benefits shall specifically be given to active duty members of the United States Armed Forces, including reserve components or National Guard. And this will also, for former members of the U.S. Armed Forces, including a reserve component and National Guard, whose last discharge or release was under conditions other than dishonorable. Finally, my amendment further establishes that the discount granted under this bill shall be given to no other individual other than those we have just listed. So I ask for affirmative vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Stender, for the amendment. Are there any comments on the amendment? Representative Haddock.
And I apologize, Representative. Is that just for military, or does your amendment extend to the family also? Just clarifying that.
Just the veteran themselves.
Any other questions? Oh, I'm sorry, Representative Haddock.
And then would your amendment then affect the actual bill itself, because that includes the family? Would that override the family piece in the main bill?
Yes.
So this is only going to be for the service members, not their families. Thank you.
Representative Takak. Oh, I saw a hand. I'm sorry. Other comments on the amendment? Any negative votes?
My apologies. I just think this should
We're
include.
I'm sorry, Representative. We're on the voting portion. So if you, let's do a roll call. Jamie, please call the roll.
Chairman Solomon,
Yes.
Representative Borowski, Representative Brown, designation yes. Representative Doherty, designation yes. Representative Genst, Representative Haddock, Representative Ingalls, Representative Monroe, designation yes. Representative O'Mara, designation yes. Representative Pielli, Representative Sappi, Representative Scott, designation yes. Representative Takak, Representative Webster, Chairman Gillen,
Yes.
Representative Banta, Representative Bashline, Representative Cooper, Representative Ham, Representative Kerwin, Representative Krupa, Representative Major, Representative Rigby, Representative Stender, Representative Wattrow, Representative Williams. It passed 26-0, unanimous.
Thank you, Jamie. Amendment 1336 is adopted unanimously. We now move to the bill as amended. This is House Bill 1342. As amended, Representative Armanini, please with your comments.
Thank you, Chairman Solomon and Chairman Gillen, for allowing me to introduce this bill. And first, I'd like to also my opportunity to the many members who served on this committee. Thank you for your service in making our country great. HB 1342 is a simple bill. It provides a 15% discount on state park activities, fees, charges for active duty, retired, and disabled military personnel. Expression of our appreciation for military service is something we should do more of. And HB 1342 is a small way of giving back to those that sacrifice so much. I will ask all of you for affirmative vote today on HB 1342 and look forward to seeing this bill move through the legislative process as a small token of our appreciation to the men and women in uniform. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you so much, Representative, for your hard work on this issue for a number of years. I appreciate it. Comments on the amended bill? Representative Banta.
I just want to say thanks. I'm a veteran. Yeah.
Other comments? Chairman Gillen.
I checked with my daughter last night when we were in the gym. She affirms this is a good bill. Thank you very much.
Are there any negative votes? House Bill 1342, as amended, is adopted unanimously and moves to the floor for consideration. Congratulations. Our last item of business, I will call up House Bill 589, authored by Representative Kincaid. Representative Kincaid, please provide your remarks.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If you had asked me 5 years ago if I was going to be the resident expert on landslides, I would not have believed you. But in door knocking around my district, I have seen the impact of landslides. I was knocking on a street, Semisier, in my district, and there was an entire house that had collapsed off the side of a hill. And in walking past the wreckage, it wasn't just the house, but also the remnants of someone's life. There were pieces of furniture, there was a TV, and there is nothing that exists in the commercial market or at the state level or federal level that helps people recover from the damage that's caused by landslides. Southwest PA is one of the highest landslide-prone areas, and this bill also includes sinkholes, and Pennsylvania is also highly susceptible to sinkholes. This is an interesting bill to try and find a home for in terms of a committee to actually take it up, because this isn't a proposal to create a commercial insurance program. The commercial insurance won't step up and do this. So 60 years ago, this legislature recognized that there was an issue with land movement when it came to mine subsidence, that people's homes were collapsing into mines that they had no idea had been dug under their house, and so they were losing their property through no fault of their own. And we created the nation's only state-run insurance program on land movement, and it has been an exceptionally successful program to help people deal with mine subsidence. So this proposal basically takes that program and creates a landslide and sinkhole insurance program that is modeled off of that. This bill has been through several iterations. The reason that it's here is sort of this is where it started. When I initially introduced it in 2021, it was referred here, and when I reintroduced it in last session, it was referred to the ERE committee because we attempted to expand the mine subsidence insurance program to include landslides and sinkholes. The Department of Environmental Protection didn't want to do that, and so we're back to creating a standalone insurance program, so it is back to this committee. And so this is, really just recognizing that the commercial insurance industry is not stepping up to cover these costs, and modeling a program off of an already successful program that has existed for more than 60 years, recognizing that we need to do something to help people who, through no fault of their own, are losing their homes and often are faced with a mortgage for a house that doesn't exist anymore, and they still have to pay that off. So this is an attempt to provide them with some ability to recover, because there have been so many people that, as a result of damage caused by landslides, caused by sinkholes, have had to declare bankruptcy because there is no other option to address the massive financial impact that this causes. And when we tell people that if you invest in a house, if you buy a house, that's generational wealth, that's how you move your family forward, and all of a sudden, in the blink of an eye, your home is gone and you still have to pay a mortgage on that, how do you recover from that? So this is an attempt to fill a need that the commercial market just won't do. And in other states that have forced the commercial market to step up and cover landslides, the companies have pulled out of the market entirely rather than provide this kind of coverage. So thank you both chairs for bringing this up, because this is a huge issue in southwestern Pennsylvania, but a significant issue across Pennsylvania.
Thank you, Representative. Questions, comments? I know Representative Takak has something.
Thank you, Chairman. And I just really want to thank the maker of the bill for her dedication in making sure that we got sinkholes included back in. In central Pennsylvania, not only do we have issues with landslides, but with the karst geography, these sinkholes will suddenly open up and with devastating effect. And especially now with these higher magnitude weather events that we're seeing, it's happening more frequently. In fact, in Center County on Christmas Day a few years ago, a sinkhole suddenly took out a parking lot surrounded by condos and displaced dozens of families. You know, they've opened up on campus, they've opened up in commercial areas. So it can be sudden, it can be devastating. This is a really much needed program. Many of these folks are, their insurance simply doesn't cover it. So thank you for this opportunity to say a few words, and thank you for your dedication in making sure that we make sure we cover all of this. Thank you.
Others? Chairman Gillen.
Yeah, thank you, Representative Kincaid. We had a conversation before the meeting began, and I preluded on the questions that I would ask. They're not gotcha questions. I read through the bill this morning. I got up at 3:45. I think I covered all the concerns and the questions I raised with you, so I'll make them public. The $150,000, is that sufficient? Do you see inflationary measures coming relative to the compensation for people that have lost homes or resources?
So, no, $150,000 is not enough to cover the cost of what we're seeing the landslide damage and sinkhole damage causes. Last session, we added this measure in to say we're going to start with a cap of a policy at $150,000 because that's where the mine subsidence insurance program is. But the board of the for the insurance program is charged with periodically reviewing both the solvency of the fund and the need in terms of coverage to make sure that both ends are appropriate. So the idea is that $150,000 will hopefully allow, starting out, folks to get out from under a mortgage, to be able to, address at least some of the impact and get into new housing if necessary. And that as, as we move forward, as the fund establishes itself more securely and more solvently, that the policies would increase. And similar to the mine subsidence insurance fund, the goal is that this is a self-sustaining fund based solely on premiums paid.
The landslide and insurance board that is contemplated here would include Department of Transportation, DCED, PEMA. Have those agencies been communicated with? Do they have input? What is their perspective on this? Because they're going to substantially administer this.
Yeah, so we reached out to folks on the board that are represented on the board. One, we modeled the board after the mine subsidence insurance program. The treasurer, secretary, Treasurer Garrity is in support of this and has actually offered some language that we included when we amended it last year, as well as DCNR and DCED have also weighed in with language that we included to tweak it.
Right. Do you envision the fund being self-sustaining, or what taxpayer costs would be involved, particularly on the startup side of things?
So my hope would be that we would be able to put an initial fund in there. What's in the bill right now is $10 million from the general fund to get the fund started, because this is an issue that in 1977 the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette said was the threat of our time in Southwest Pennsylvania. So this has been almost 50 years in the making of a serious problem, and it's only getting worse as we're seeing more and more significant storms. So the ability to provide some initial seed money to be able to help individuals who are being impacted right now is my goal. But the goal is to see this be a self-sustaining fund, just like the mine subsidence insurance funds, that it relies on premiums after an initial investment.
Thank you. And to be sensitive to people's time, I'll just have one last general question relative to property rights. So if you have at-risk land and you wish to build, rebuild on it, we want to be sure that property rights are respected and property value is not disenfranchised under the bill. So what is the chemistry relative to land use issues once the land has been deemed or determined to be at risk?
So the only provisions that sort of restrict, if you will, the use of it is there's a provision in the bill that incentivizes municipalities to come up with a landslide and sinkhole mitigation plan. If they come up with that plan, then the residents of their municipality would be entitled to a discount on their premiums. And what's in the bill is basically provisions for what counts as, or what they should be looking for to come up with this mitigation plan. So it's not a requirement that they do it, but it's what we would be looking for in terms of a mitigation plan to make sure that development happens responsibly, so that we're not building on landslide or sinkhole susceptible land without an understanding that we should take some steps, if you're going to do development in that capacity, to ensure that it's not impacted by a landslide or sinkhole.
My vote will be in the affirmative, but there's still a little bit of a question mark. And I know some of these issues, land use issues, private property rights, rose out of the Environmental Resources Committee when it was up for a vote there. As I recall, there were 5 negative votes. And so I'd like to move this product forward. Thank you very much, Representative Kincaid. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman Gillen. Jamie, please call the roll.
Chairman Solomon,
Yes.
Representative Borowski, Representative Brown, designation yes. Representative Doherty, designation yes. Representative Genst, Representative Haddock, Representative Ingalls, Representative Monroe, designation yes. Representative O'Mara, designation yes. Representative Pielli, Representative Sappi, Representative Scott, designation yes. Representative Takak, Representative Webster, Chairman Gillen, Representative Banta, Representative Bashline, Representative Cooper, Representative Ham, Representative Kerwin, Representative Krupa, Representative Major, Representative Rigby, Representative Stender, Representative Wattrow, Representative Williams. 25 yes, yeas, and 1 no. It passes.
Congratulations and thank you, Representative Kincaid.
Thank you.
If there's no other business, the meeting of Veterans Affairs and Emergency Preparedness is adjourned.